Hello guys and welcome to the first ever episode of the Centuria Show. In today's show we will discover a particular place which will be Australia and its city of Melbourne. We will discover Melbourne through Google Maps and Google Street View, but in the first part we will quickly review the Australian context, like the economic, geographic and demographic situation of the country and what are the largest cities. In the Centuria Show you will be able to see this kind of videos where I talk freely about a particular city or country, and you will see more of generally entertaining videos, etc. While on my main channel Future Century it's more like top 10s, city comparison and documentaries. So I hope you will enjoy this first ever Centuria Show. So let's get started with Australia. I think that most of you know it, but I will just tell the context again. Australia is an English-speaking country in Oceania. It is located just southeast of Asia and has an important immigrant population, which we are going to see later in the context part. It is one of the richest countries in the world because of its natural resources and well-developed economy. As you can see, its GDP per capita is at around $52,000, which is after coronavirus numbers, and we are going to see what the real number were before the coronavirus pandemic. And yeah, it's a fast-growing economy and very dynamic place. So it would be fun to discover its cities. Okay, so in 2019 Australia had a 1.8% growth rate, which is quite good for a developed economy. 1.8% is well over Germany, over France, over UK, around Spain, which is a country that is still developing, growing quite fast, Spain, so it's well over Italy, over Norway, Sweden, and yeah, it's on par with United States and Canada. And they have a pretty bright future. As you can see, they will bounce back pretty impressively from 51,000 to 57,000 by next year. And yeah, rapidly up to the 60k. And yeah, while Australia seems to bounce back pretty fast compared to the United States, Canada and European countries. So yeah, Australia is a pretty dynamic country, pretty rich and growing fast. So we got 25 million inhabitants, which is growing extremely fast. Where can we see this? Okay, we cannot see, but Australia is like the fastest growing rich country in terms of inhabitants. So you can see they have a lot of immigrants from all over the world. They have around 1 million English people,
700,000 Chinese, 660,000 Indians, etc. It's pretty impressive. From South Africa as well, Italy, Malaysia, Scotland, South Korea, anywhere, literally anywhere. So total foreign-born
7 million people, which is like one of the highest numbers I think on earth, because they have like 40%, I would guess, around 40% foreign-born people. So that's incredibly insane. And what is also insane is the fact that despite having only 25 million inhabitants, Australia has some of the biggest and most iconic cities in the world. So I'm going to show you some countries that Australia's population compare with. 25 million would be like Syria or Romania in Europe, or Taiwan has around 25 million inhabitants. Or that's not a lot of inhabitants, but despite this low inhabitants and of course very low density, Australia achieved to become one of the richest countries in the world, with an economy over $1.3 trillion, which is in pair with countries like Thailand and Philippines, etc. Despite its little population. And also, Australia has some of the most iconic cities in the world, like Sydney, Melbourne, and yeah, they are less known, but Brisbane, and one we can see here, which is Gold Coast. So you can see, despite having a quite little population, they have a lot of big cities like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, which are all multi-million cities. In fact, Australia has actually more multi-million inhabitant cities than any other countries in Europe, with some countries in Europe having more than 70 million inhabitants, or 3 times the inhabitants of Australia. So we can easily say that Australia is one of the most urban societies in the world, if we ain't count Singapore, etc. So now that you perfectly master the economic and geographic context of Australia, let's take a look at Melbourne. Melbourne is populated by around 5 million people in the metropolitan area, which is around 20% of the population of the whole country. It is referred as one of the leading financial centers in the Asia-Pacific region, and it has the largest urban tram network in the world. So here we have a nice picture of Melbourne showing the central business district. We can see that they are building an impressive amount of skyscrapers. By the way, you got many videos on B1M, I think you might know if you are interested in architecture, etc., about Melbourne or Sydney in Australia, which are places where many skyscrapers are being built right now. You got like a couple here, some behind there, one in front here, and a couple more here. And this is the tallest building in Australia, and you can see it's a really green city, green and nice city with a cool river, etc. Now that we know Melbourne just like our hometown, we are going to be discovering and exploring Melbourne from A to Z on Google Street View. But yeah guys, I'm sorry, it will be for the next episode, which will come out very soon. I hope you guys enjoyed very much this first ever Centuria Show and that you will be watching the next part. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the Centuria Show. See you soon.